every Wednesday we have our mastermind meeting. We always invite special guests on, people that are proven, people that have the arrows in their back. They have been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Tonight we have Ivan and Eddie from out in California. They're proud school owners. They've gone pro. They've made it to the big leagues. 3 years from now, less, they will be accredited. It's like going from college to the NFL. Now,
Yeah, that's a whole.
California is one of the hardest states to open a school. They have weathered the storm. They've been consistent. They've been persistent. They did not give up. The race is not given to the strongest or the fastest or the smartest, but the one that endures to the end. I'm not going to talk long because they're going to tell you their journey. I want you to introduce yourself, and we're going to get this thing going.
All right. So my name is Ivan Contreras. One of the 50% business owner here at Barber Beauty College. Been cutting hair for over 10 years behind the chair. And yeah, I mean, I love the industry and love how you could just upscale from just cutting hair to opening up your own barbershop or salon and now a school. And even, there's people that take the route to getting their own product. And, you got the big names out there that just went from same thing, behind the chair to having a crazy marketing name out there, right? As a product that you see it in a bunch of stores and it's marketed well. So the industry has a lot of avenues where you could go and just upscale and go wherever you want to go. So, but anyway, again, my name is Ivan, been cutting over 10 years. And that's, just a little bit about me.
Ivan, tell them how you got started. Tell them a little bit about your childhood, because you just didn't arrive being this school owner. Tell them all the things, some of the things you had to go through. They want to know your backstory.
Man, how far back?
All the way back.
So, I mean, I was born in Mexico. Moved out here when I was like 8 or 9, me and my mom. Moved out here with some cousins, some families. And yeah, I mean, they don't know no English. Just Spanish was my main English. And I mean, my main language. And yeah, I mean, just from there, went to middle school here, high school. And honestly, I mean, I didn't really have no direction, right? As a young kid, you just kind of grow up and then you're not like, not everyone knows from the get-go, this is what I want to do. Cutting hair is something I think I picked up at high school. Enjoyed doing it, but more for fun. I actually didn't want to do it as a career. That was the last thing on my list. Like if all fails, I'm gonna do cutting hair, but not necessarily for any specific reason. It was more so I loved it and I enjoyed it, and I didn't want to take the fun out of it. Me thinking doing that as a career, it's like, oh, it's gonna be a job, so it's gonna take all the fun out of it, right? So anyway, went through the list, and it just came down to just barbering. It came down to barbering, where I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it out. Everything else that I tried, like I tried joining the army. My mom and my stepdad at the time were like, just don't do it. You don't want to do that. All right, cool. I want to go to mechanic school. Don't do that. Go do some more research of people that are doing that. Most of the time, just little details. I don't want to talk down on mechanics because I got a lot of clients that are actually mechanics and they enjoy it. Just for me personally, it was just one of those dreams that just shot down real quick. So they're like, look, you're already cutting hair. You're good at it. You got clients coming into the garage. Just go to school. And then my wife now, at the time she was my girlfriend, she was just going to beauty school and she encouraged me. She's like, go to barber school. You're already cutting hair. I think you're going to enjoy it. And ended up signing up. And this was like 2009. From then till now, I could literally say that I have not lost that passion for what I'm doing. Like, I know you have a lot of people that go through that like, they choose a career and they're like, oh man, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't want to go to work. And honestly, I love it. I love what I do. I love, again, the how much the industry has to offer. I mean, talking to my clients and now being a school owner, it takes away from actually me being behind the chair and meeting with my clients regularly and honestly, that kind of hurt, you know. But it's like it's one of those things that you have to go through, you know, in order for you to just go to the next level. But yeah, no, it's that's how passionate about it, that it actually hurt to and then it sounds weird to like not work as much behind the chair, but I mean, I'm sure that you can relate because I mean you were behind the chair as well. So that connection they have with your clients, to just now be, you know, stepping away from that, like I still cut some of my clients, don't get me wrong, but it just less, and it just that like that moment just to kind of break away from them hurt a little bit. Here's Eddie coming in, but yeah, just and then now we're here, right? We're opening up the school since October. It took well, right now, before I continue actually into what the school is and how that journey about came to be, I'll let Eddie go ahead and introduce himself, and then we could both kind of just chime into the whole story of opening up the school, and then you obviously helping us out and you know, getting the doors open.
Okay.
But
Eddie, can you introduce yourself? Tell them about your childhood too, growing up, all the things you had to go through to get where you are today.
So as you mentioned, I'm Eddie. I'm his partner with 50-50% partnerships here at Barber Beauty College. I have a similar story to Ivan. I'm actually first generation immigrant. We came from El Salvador, me and my mom alone, single mother. We are, well, you know, we fled during a communist country where there's a lot of war, a lot of violence, looking for a better life here in the States. We landed here in Oakland, California, actually, where I grew up till I was about close to 8 years old. We came here when I was 3. So I spent about 5 years in Oakland, and it was rough. We didn't know the language, we didn't know English. We were pretty broke. I remember going as a child with my mom looking for help at churches, local churches, thrift stores. You know, they'll give us canned foods. They'll provide us with free services such as I mentioned, clothing. So it was hard, you know. But I look up to my mom as a strong woman because she was able to get on her feet, get a job, learn the language, and little by little she demonstrated me or gave me the example of working hard to get where we are now. Eventually, she remarried a great man who had 2 jobs, and I was able to see them progress to what they have now. I learned the work ethic from them. Me in school, I wouldn't call myself the brightest person as far as education, book knowledge. So I struggle a lot with my academic work. You know, C, maybe D's here and there. Once in a while, I get a B on a subject. Most of the time was PE. Yeah, I was kind of, I didn't know where I was going to go with life. I didn't know where my path, my destiny was going to be. I just know that my time was ticking. You know, once you hit 18 years old, that pressure starts, especially by society. What are you going to do next? Parents starts to ask, okay, where are you going to go? Are you going to go to school? Are you going to work? Do you need a part-time job with your dad? So all of these scenarios starts to kick in, and you know, I was more focused on chasing the girls, as they say. You know, I was young, and I was really into getting my shoes at the time. I started getting a little part-time during school. My haircuts, so that's where it started. I was going to the local barbershops, and I seen these guys were always laughing. The vibe was just out there, and they were having fun. And the curiosity starts kicked in, and I start asking questions. Yo, so how you like it? You know, how did you learn to cut hair? Well, you got to go to school to cut hair. You know, never heard of it, right? So that's how that curiosity started. Until one day, summer hits right after high school, thinking if I'm gonna go to college, thinking if I'm gonna join the military, just hanging around with friends, old pair of clippers that were sitting under the bed, pull them out, and thought I was like the guys at the barbershop, and totally totally went south after that. But I liked it. There was something about it, something that just triggered a curiosity into, you know what, this is more of a challenge. You know, I've always been a challenging guy. Like, you know, I need to do something about it. So at the time, it was in 2007. I pull up YouTube, which was kind of new, and there was about 3 videos on how to cut hair. You know, so there wasn't a lot out there to go about. So I start hanging around the barbershop more. I found myself being there on a Saturday, 3-4 hours, asking as many questions as possible while trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. I joined a community college. Again, came down to academics. I didn't have to drive, so I dropped out. Started working with my dad at a restaurant. But yeah, I felt like a failure for a little bit because I was in limbo. But I knew that the barbering game, the industry of cutting hair was starting to call me out. So eventually I took the leap of faith in 2007, 2008, I joined Barber College. And it just went from there. I started liking it. I never felt that I was good at anything growing up, but I started feeling that people were starting to look at me like, well, this guy knows what he's doing with his clippers. So that kind of triggered this chip on my shoulder, like I'm actually good at something finally. And that passion started to develop. And the cool thing about me being in that barber college that I joined, it was brand new. I was the third student enrolled. So I was able to see the growth of that business. I was able to see the amount of students that started coming in. I was able to see the structure of everything, how it came from. I was a third student to by the time I graduated, he had over 25 students, right? And I kept in contact with a lot of them. I kept in contact with the owner. So it was always in me, like maybe that can be me someday, right? I started seeing these new revenues. I started seeing a bigger picture to the industry other than just cutting hair. So it stuck in my mind for a long time. School, maybe one day, I don't know, you know, I was just focused on trying to master my craft and getting clients. But as I progressed and met new clients, met new relationships, and kept in contact with this barber school owner, eventually those doors started open. And I got to the point where eventually was able to open my own barbershop, which gave me the opportunity to meet Ivan and other people in the industry to motivate me to, you know what, I think it might be time. So all these steps eventually led me up to meeting Ivan and eventually getting that courage to finally follow the dream that I thought had died back in barber school to come true. And then here we are, you know. That's a little bit about my story.
So when did you and Ivan when did y'all first start talking about a school? Tell us about that.
How did that come about?
I think
individually we wanted to do that. It was like, I think it's one of those things, like as a barber, you're like, oh, one day I want to open up my own shop, right? And then as you're also thinking that, you're also thinking a barber school would be cool. I don't know. I don't know if it's, I think it might be a little bit common on a lot of barbers, but it did play out in our heads, I believe. And I was actually planning on wanting to do this with somebody, and just things weren't moving, things weren't happening. And then my brother was actually working with him at his shop, and then something got mentioned where like, oh, they're having classes. And then I don't know, did you mention something about wanting to open up a school with the class that you had?
Yeah, I kind of hosted a small education class, and then I kind of just told him, I was like, this is the goal, because the shop was new at the time, my barbershop. Mm-hmm. But I kind of told him, you know, this ain't the end, it for us. We're gonna extend it to a school one day. And then the word got spread and eventually got to life.
Yeah, and then since when I heard that, I was like, and when the person that I was talking to, things weren't happening, I'm like, yo, well, let's see how serious this guy is, right? And we knew each other from like the first barbershop that I worked at. And then that's where we kind of met. And when he opened up his shop, we had a conversation before we opened up. I kind of, I've been open for about 10 years now, about 9, 10 years. So, you know, he kind of came for some advice and just kind of like, you know, I give him some pointers, right, from my experience. And then from then, it was just easy for me to like just come to him like, hey, what's going on with this that I'm hearing? Because I'm having the same, you know, thoughts, and I'm kind of moving towards that same type of like route. And then next thing you know, he said, well, yeah, I mean, I'm serious. I'm like, cool. So then because the person that I initially had some conversations with, nothing ever happened, I'm like, all right, well, I guess, I mean, there's nothing there, right? So then we started linking up, and next thing you know, it's one thing after another. We're, hey, let's make a business contract. Cool. Let's go to the bank. Cool. So everything, there was action, right? There wasn't just like, it wasn't dreamy. It was like, this sounds real. We could obtain it. Let's go for it. And we were doing it together. So for me, and I think, you know, this is where it worked out, where it's like, it wasn't something that, you know, a lot of people sit down together and they'll discuss ideas and they all sound good, but nothing will happen until like you're both actually doing the work, 50% of it, right? You're putting in your 50, your 100, he's putting in his 100, and it just works. And that's kind of like how it developed. It wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't like we planned it for years ago. I think it was, again, it was like an individual seed that was there, and somehow, some way, we just kind of like, if we linked up together later on the road.
Kind of happened organically. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna hook up with this guy, or man, we're gonna make this happen. It just happened organically. I think we were both in a position where, you know, the universe spoke to us. You know, I don't know how else to put it. It just happened.
It just worked out.
It just worked out. Like you said, we both took action, and that's what needs to be done in something, or anything in life. Or, you know, in this project, in this case, we just, all right, let's go for it. Let's go for it. It just took a leap of faith, and here we are, sitting in front of you.
So tell us some of the steps. What did y'all do? Okay, y'all want to open up a school. Y'all got the shops, working in there behind the chair like over 1.3 million other beauty professionals. What did you do next?
I think we met up and brainstormed. The first thing we did. We kind of see, as a partnership, for those who are thinking of doing it with someone else, it's all about the vision. Do you guys have the same vision?
For sure.
And then brainstorming of his ideas. I heard what he has in mind, and I spelled out what I had in mind, and they were very similar of what our objective was at the end. From there, it was the talk of finances, right? This is how much I have, this is how much he has, this is how much I'm willing to put, this much how he's willing to put, and then we agreed, okay, that's what it is, then let's move on to the next step, which at that point was, okay, let's do more research. What is it that our state is requiring us to do to open up a school? Because there's a reason why there's not a lot of them out here. So we started doing our research at that point. It was a lot of research, a lot of phone calls. Hey, this is what I found. This is what I heard. A lot of that going back and forth. Because we want to make sure we took the right step first. We're trying to avoid as many obstacles as possible by really doing the homework first.
Along the road to doing that research, I came across, I think it was either your Instagram, your YouTube. I don't know how it was, but I found yours. I was like, yo, look, check this guy out. He's already had some shops. He's already had some schools. He seems like he could teach us the ropes. He reached out to his, the guy who, in contact with, who was it?
So it was the
Barber. I don't know if you want to say the name or the barber shop.
Yeah, it was the barber school owner, as I mentioned, where I went before earlier in the story. I still kind of kept in contact with him, and I was always there, like peeping, like, okay, what are they doing? And I'm talking about, I told you guys, I started at number 3 in their list, and by the time I looked back and I was serious about doing it, he's accredited. He had already purchased his building. He had a Costco and Barber program. I mean, he was full on blowing up. So I reached out to him as well, and he told me that at that time he was offering me to come in and kind of shadow as a instructor, right? Not necessarily on the business side, but get in the mix. Because me personally, I've been away from Barber College itself for years, So I dove right into that. That's one part that I did. I dove into it and get into Mexican. Even if I was an instructor, I was still able to pick people's brains that were working there. Hey, so what do you do with this with your student? I was able to get my hands on after being gone from barber college for so long.
Okay.
So that was how we got, again, actual insight, again, more of the hands-on and kind of like how the operations like more were ready to open. So let me soak up as much as now as looking to be a barbershop owner. And then for me, again, was more so how I came across you. And obviously we called you.
How did that
go? You know?
Tell me the mindset. Be honest and transparent so they can know.
Yeah, no, at first it was like, hold on, like, what are we gonna get out of this? Like, you know, it was very like, I don't know, it's a lot of money. So yeah, I mean, honestly, it was at first kind of like, do we really want to do this? So it was a lot of doing continual research and keep calling you like, hey, ask about this. Okay, cool, we'll call you. Ask this, and you're like, call so and so, and then see how they liked working with me. All right, so we did that, and even I think when we were kind of like not 100% sure, but we were more on the sure side, we still had questions, and we still kind of like, man, hold on, because again, we're doing research, we have our funds ready to go, so we weren't really that ready to just pull the trigger on making a financial decision. But at the same time, we were like, man, like, we're really hoping to kind of like cut the learning curve by, you know, working with you. And I think that was a decision that decided to go ahead and work with you.
What made you make that decision? I mean, did y'all do y'all's homework? I mean, what made you make that decision? Did you think it was a scam? Or, I mean, what were you thinking?
I think like a lot of things online, you know, it's just, there's so much information, you don't know what's real and what's not real these days, you know? And I think that's where the skepticism kicks in. And then being our first, one of the first challenges, like, okay, we have this money put together, cool. But where do we spend the money first? Because we were trying to avoid as many oops or obstacles as possible. Like, if we spend it on here and it doesn't work out, then our budget just got smaller. We haven't even started yet, you know. So it was a lot of where do we invest our first initial investment, and that's what we're like. Okay, I know that we get help. I know that we need a mentor. I know we need to start somewhere, right? So that's what we're calling you, Jen. Like, okay, so if we do this, this is what we're gonna see back, right? Or if we do this, this is what should be expecting, right? So there was a lot of that going on. So it just came down to, you know what, we took a leap of faith. To this point, we're in it already, so we might as well just go all out, you know, take action. It goes back to taking the action.
So how was that? Yeah, I was in action with me.
Working with you, or?
Yeah, I guess working with me, or through the whole process. Because y'all called a lot.
So we had this stuff going on in our heads and a lot of conversations back and forth before we pulled the initial trigger with you. But we attended a meeting with the state on kind of like an orientation of what they expect from us as the initial application, which is so intense. So we sat there for almost 7 hours, and we were just like what? We were just like. And I remember writing a note to Ivan, because it was a lot of people. I wrote a note to Ivan. I said, call Chen. So call Chen. Yeah, like, it made it.
Yeah, this was definitely before we obviously started working with you. This was between the whole, let's keep asking questions before we pull the trigger on anything. We went to that meeting, and not even just us, you could just sense it. Everyone's questions, everyone's just trying to open up a school, whether if it was barbering, I think we were the only barbering actually.
Yeah, it was just the Board of Education, what they wanted to see. Over here is called the BPPE.
Yeah, and it just the intensity, and I mean, you've mentioned it's NACAS is even more intense, but already just from opening up a barbershop to this, it was like, Oh man, you could open up like so many shops so easy.
Yeah, it's a different animal. It's a different level. Like you said, this is the big boys. So we're sitting there as the little boys, like,
Yeah.
what do we do?
So yeah, definitely when we went to the seminar again, super intense, 6-7 hours left. We're like, yo, we're definitely gonna need some help. So working with you, it was great. I mean, even though with a lot of your knowledge and information, because it's so new to us, we were still getting lost. So it's still a learning curve. You're still gonna learn things, but I think definitely it made it easier and more comfortable to be able to like, hey, let's go. And in the process, we ended up connecting more again as he started working with that school. It helped us get more connections with that school, with the head of the school, with the teachers there. So that helped as well, working with them, working with you. But it was intense at first.
Yeah, and it comes down to putting in the work. It's not just like you're gonna give us everything and everything's gonna be done. Like we had to do our research because we're in a different state, so we had to stay in compliance with them with California laws. But your system, everything that you're giving us, just made it gave us a map.
That's what
it gave us a clear map. It was like Siri on the go. That's who you are. That's who we see you as. Hey Siri, what do we do here? You know. So that's talking about Siri. So listen, but yeah, that's how we see it, and that's how we used it, and it finally got us here.
And even now, I mean, you still get my texts, you still get my calls, and I like that you pick up all the time, and you know, you respond to us, you send us emails when you say you're gonna send us. We're still missing one thing, but no, it's kidding. But no, it's been good, man. Honestly, it's been really good.
Now that you open, how does it feel to be a school owner?
Doesn't feel real to me, at least yet. I mean, I wake up every morning, and then me personally, talking my experience, it doesn't feel real. One, I'm still getting adjusted to the routine because I've been behind the chair for so many years, and I had to adjust my lifestyle. I had to adjust my schedule. My mindset had to open up to more of a learning. I had to remold myself and be more observant to things that are coming my way. I couldn't be stubborn about things like I know it all. Can't do that. At least that's how I feel right now. It's like I have to keep an open mind about everything, because you're not gonna know it all up from the get-go. You know, there's gonna be a lot of obstacles along the way. And the cool thing about it is I have Ivan to lean on, and I'm sure it's vice versa. He has to lean on me, and that's the cool thing, that we lean on each other going forward. So it feels surreal. That's how I feel.
Being a business owner, how does it feel? It feels good. It feels good because now we're giving back, right? So it's like we have the experience behind the chair, and it feels good that we are helping the future generation of cosmetologists and barbers. And man, it just, that knowing that we're imparting into them what we feel like we should have. I mean, at least for me personally, I can't speak for everyone, but for me personally, when I went to school, I didn't get the best experience. I literally had to learn everything myself. I sometimes think back, I'm like, how did I even pass my state board? Just because I feel like, again, everything I learned was either myself or other students that were there. And that, you know, even if you have the best teacher, most of the time it's always going to be, how bad do you want it, right? But there is that what do you call it? There is that expectation that the school does need to provide something for you, right? I mean, you're not just paying just to get hours. Like, so for me now to be a school owner, it's like, man, like I could really go above and beyond what I wanted to receive as a student, right? But yeah, as a business partner, this is the first business partner that I actually have, but it's been good because of that. Same thing, like I could lean on him on certain things where I don't know at all, and it makes certain financial, maybe some, I don't know, questions that normally I would stress over. Hey, what's going on here? He might have a better understanding. Same thing with him. Maybe I have a better understanding on certain things, so that makes it easier. But as far as new business, it's like, man, it feels like when I open up my barbershop, it's like, oh man, starting over again. Like, you're not just making money right off the bat. It's gonna be like starting from scratch. Got to make sure that you're breaking even, and then from breaking even, all right, cool. How are we gonna go and hit our next goal and actually expand, right? As in either here in-house, how do we make things better? But as a school owner, just on that question alone, it feels good to give back to the industry and to know that the students coming out of here are going to be representing it.
Now, how do the barbers and people in society, how do they view y'all now?
How do
they view us now?
Yeah, how they view you all now? Because y'all done went from a barber shop, a barber behind a chair, to like gone pro.
I don't know exactly how they view us, but we definitely starts to sense all eyes on us now, especially in our area. There's not a lot of competitors, you could say. So yeah, it's a lot of like, okay, who are those guys? What are they about?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that going on. I had a lot of other barbers, reach out and congratulate us, and it feels good. It feels like we're the new big thing in town. The community has been so grateful to us. They be, oh my God,
we're so happy.
We're so happy that you're here. We're so happy. We needed this. So it feels good. It feels like, okay, we're on the right path.
Yeah. So as far as the community, everyone's being super, again, like acceptive of us. As far as the barbers, I think the people that actually like know us and have came by to congratulate us or whatever, because they see how passionate we are and how like much we want to give back to the industry. They really see that and like, oh man, that's so good. We needed that. Like we had an instructor that came by and he just like, man, I wish I had you guys as my instructor back then. Because again, like I said, I don't want to bash on any school. For me personally, I feel like my school could have done a better job in imparting information into me. So again, it's people see that we're actually trying to do our best to give the new students the best knowledge that they could get, right? Whatever their license allows them to do, that's what we're trying to teach them, like everything. Just because you're a barber, we don't rule you to just fades and tapers. It's like, no, you could do color, perms, relaxers. You could do women's hair. It's like so many other things than just one fades and tapers. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not trying to bash on any other school. It just like, that's a response that we've been getting from some of the people that came in and taught class, like, oh man, that's so good that you guys have special guests here. That's so cool that you guys are actually trying to one-on-one with us, with everyone as much as you can. So far it's been good.
Now, how does y'all's family think about y'all?
My family thinks I'm crazy.
It's funny because like I said, it goes back to the story I told of my journey. It's like when my parents saw that I dropped out of college and started playing in the garage with these clippers. At first, they questioned it, like, "What are you doing?" Once you could be an engineer or whatever it is, go back to college, or if not, go into construction, or but they saw that I was driven, and I really liked it. I had to talk to them, like, this is what I really started to develop a passion for. So, eventually they came around and supported me. And then when they saw me graduating and actually working, and saw that I was actually able to support myself as a barber, they started really like opening up, and I still will talk to my like mom, dad, like, it's not just it. It's watch, I can be a shop owner, I can be a school owner, I can do this, I can do that. They're like, okay, yeah, all right. And then little by little, as the years progress, and then I open my own shop, and then they're like, okay, he's doing it, And they knew the conversation one time that we had about opening the school, and so when it finally happened, it was probably one of the best feelings I had in life, seeing my parents proud of me for not giving in to what society was, go to college, get a 4-year degree. I went against it, and they were so proud of me. And I think that's one thing that I got to say is it's checked out on my bucket list. The proudness of your parents, seeing you progress. And now it's crazy because now my mom's talking about going to beauty school, and my sister went to cosmetology school. So the influences that I started putting out there for what I've done is starting to really trickle down to my sphere of influence, and it's a great feeling.
What about you, Ivan? How does your family?
I think I'm like, I've always been kind of like a dreamer. So my mom kind of already, like, she sees the type of person that I am. Like I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I'm always just thinking of like I want to do things. So I think they're not so much surprised that I'm just kind of like a go-getter, but they're definitely proud that at least my mom, I know, and my stepdad too. I'm sure that they're proud that I'm actually doing it. Like, I'm not just talking about like, one day it'll be nice to have this, one day it'll be nice to have that. It's like, and they see, that the amount of hard work that I've been putting in. I'm just like, because it takes a lot of sacrifice, I mean, saving money, putting in the hours, and having to sacrifice the time to go out with friends and things like that. And it's not just like 1 weekend, 2 weekends. It's like a lifestyle, like, you really gotta put in the hours and the times to say, like, do you want this or do you want that? And if you really want to do this is what it's going to come with. And once you decide that you're willing to put in the work to do that, then it's like, all right, cool, let's put on the big boy pants and let's go right after it. So again, I think, I get the response that they're proud, they're happy. Definitely.
Now, how did you all learn English? Because y'all came over here and couldn't speak English.
Getting bullied. Getting bullied.
A lot of bullying for sure. And I think that's why me and I clicked. We have similar backgrounds. A lot of bullying. Just like a lot of kids, the first things I learned was the bad cuss words, cuss words, and then that's where it gets really tricky. There's that fine line. You can either hang out with the right crew, or you can easily get into the wrong crew because you want to fit in. You want to be able to be one of those guys, right? So, I was fortunate enough to hang, because I was bullied so much. I was kind of got pushed to that crowd where they were just quiet, but within themselves. So, a lot of being exposed to the language made a difference. At least learning it, made it a lot easier. And and then after during high school, I caught on a lot of reading. A lot of reading really opened my brain differently, at least to terminology-wise. Being able to pronounce words the proper way. That helped a lot.
When I moved out here, again with my mom, I was like 8 or 9, and I lived in a house with all my cousins. I'm talking about, like, my cousins are 5, all guys. And I'm the only one that just came fresh out of Mexico, no English. So I'm getting bullied, Like, I'm talking about, like, they were not as, like, they're just cussing at me, but they'll just say, like, little things that, because I don't know it, I'm just like, you, that's the first thing I like. They'll be like, you're a corridor. I'm like, you. so a lot of that, I mean, you're in a house full of young kids, right? I mean, that's what we do, right? You bully each other and get picked on, and they're just like, eventually, obviously, growing up, you're around it so much that you just pick it up. Just honestly, I watched a lot of cartoons in English because I would watch everything in Spanish. They're like, yo, just watch English. They're like, just put everything on English. I'm like, all right, cool. And
Saturday morning Looney Tunes.
That's it.
Now, what would you tell? It's 1,165 accredited school owners. There's over 1.3 million barber, stylists, and nail techs. But a lot of them won't open a school. They have a dream. What would you tell them?
If their dream is to open up a accredited school.
Open up a school, but they're working in a shop. So some of them fear, some of them don't believe. I mean, a lot of stuff is going through their brains because I'm going to put this on YouTube. So what would you tell that guy, that woman, because you've been down that road? I mean, your story is not going to get any better than this because you all came over here and couldn't even speak English. It's not going to get no lower than that. And you had no money, was broke, came with your mom. So for y'all to get where y'all are at today, I mean, no one has an excuse. There's not going to be a greater story than this. I mean, it can't get no worse than you come into a country and you don't know nobody, you can't even speak the language.
Right. I want to go first.
Everybody's background is different, and I get that. I think for me, it was, staying. One, I was passionate about what I was doing, which for me, it was very rare to be passionate about something. Like I said, I mentioned in my backstory, I wasn't good at a lot of things, and I found my passion, and that's one thing that fuels my drive, right? I was very stubborn, and in a lot of cases it can be bad, but in some cases it can be good. So taking no for an answer, it's out of the question. I'll find a yes somewhere out there. Whether it be from a bank if they're telling me no, or from a friend if they're telling me no. So that drive was really, it was driven by that passion, first of all. Commitment. If you're gonna commit to something, go all the way. All right. Don't have one foot in, one foot out. I've done that before too with other things that I tried in the past. I have one foot in, one foot out, and I had that fear, and it just told me that it wasn't for me at that point. Discipline. One of the biggest challenges is having the discipline as a barber. First of all, I had to learn discipline because I was an independent contractor. I didn't have somebody telling me to get up at this time and take this many clients at this time, take a lunch at this time, make this much money. Nobody. It was all on me. So for me to develop discipline played a huge part to where I am now. And then relationships. Don't burn no bridges. A lot of relationships were built behind that chair that helped me to get to where I am now, both mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. A lot of that came from the chair. That chair is very powerful. As a barber, like there's a saying that says, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. And it's very true. It's very true. So a lot of influence came from that chair to drive me to where I needed to be, to open doors to where I needed to be, right? If you're thinking of something, share with somebody if you're thinking about financing and you have a client in finances, open up that conversation. You never know where it's going to lead. And if, like I said, you have that drive, discipline behind it, eventually doors will open up, and if you have the commitment, you step into it 100%. So that's the best advice I can give you guys to this point. The rest is on you. You gotta open that door and walk in and open up your mouth and speak what you want to do. The universe will come back to you and provide that.
For sure. For me, advice to somebody that wants to open up a school. Is that the question? Man, it depends. It depends where you're at, right? Like if you're just, if you've never even owned a business before, it's gonna be a huge jump from going to having no business to boom, you got a school. That's a huge, big operation. If you maybe going from having a barbershop to kind of like our scenario, right? We've had our own shops, so we know a little bit of experience behind. When I say a little bit, because barbershops, I feel like they tend to be a little bit more on the easier business owning, but this is like a whole different animal. So my advice is, man, like if you really want to, again, depending on where you are in your life, right? I don't think it's for everybody. If you enjoy your weekends, if you enjoy sleeping, and your free time, your vacations, all that, man, a lot of it is sacrifice, yo. Like it's hard. But if it's all mental, if you're willing to sacrifice and you're willing to put in the work, I mean, I think it's one of the things that I would recommend if you want to step into the next level of your, again, if you're in the barber industry and you're a barber or hairstylist or whatever, you want to give back to the industry. It's the next step that you definitely got to take. Although it's going to hurt at first, I'm sure. At least it did for me, setting apart from being behind the chair, those relationships. But now it's like it takes that like hurt, I guess you want to call it. You know, it's like you have to disconnect to go to the next level. Every time you want to move up, it's going to hurt a little bit. And it's going to take some sacrifice. But you know, it's what you got to do in order to hit that next level. Not to say that I'm on a higher level. I'm doing, you know, I'm better than anybody. No, I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying it more so in the business aspect, right, in the marketplace. But yeah, it definitely does take a crazy individual to just want to go ahead and get more duty on themselves, you know.
A lot of growing pains. A lot of growing pains, and it takes so much mental focus and strength to be able to sacrifice that family time, to sacrifice money that you were so used to making behind the chair and as a shop owner if you're in that position. A lot of it's just, you really gotta you gotta push yourself to a limit where you didn't even know you had.
Yeah.
Right? This amount of sleep you're working on, the amount of focus you're working on, everything, just, you really have to change your whole perspective to a different level.
When I say what I'm saying as well, like I don't want it to take it as a like, oh, I'm trying to discourage people from doing it. I just really want you guys to really take in consideration what it takes. Because the worst thing to do is to lie to people, right? And say, oh man, do it, it's so easy, it's so obtainable, anybody can do it. That's the worst lie that anybody could tell anybody, right? It's just not true. But if, like I said, if you count the cost and you're willing to take that risk and that challenge, right, man, go for it. It's definitely gonna be rewarding. You reap what you sow. Put in the work, and yeah, eventually you will have a better, I believe, you know, like at least for myself, like I've seen it with my barbershop where I put in the time, I put in the hours, and eventually I got to reap some of those you know, that labor that I put in, and I see that same thing here. But I don't want to sound like I'm sending a negative message to like discourage people. Absolutely not. Like I encourage anybody who's willing to take the challenge. It just more so count the cost, right?
Take a leap of faith.
So when y'all get accredited, because y'all out in California and y'all start making about $25,000 to $30,000 a student, because that's going to be in less than 3 years. Have y'all thought about that?
I mean, it's in the back of our heads. Like I said, as a school, there's a lot of moving parts that are going on, especially in the beginning, a lot of growing pains. But it's in the back of our heads, trust me. And we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Because you've seen that other school owner, they got accredited, so you've seen it.
Yes, I saw. That's I think one thing that I'm grateful for is to being exposed to that. I was able to see it from my eyes, and motivated me and influence and see the numbers and the accomplishment. It's like that's really can be us very soon, you know.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Now, Ivan and Eddie, how old are you all?
Oh man, you don't even sound old. No, I'm just kidding. I turned 32 in August, so I just 31 and a half. 31.
I'm 32, and yeah, let me just enjoy my 32 for now. 32.
Y'all still young. Because this is my first time ever seeing y'all. You know that.
We've seen you, but yeah, I think this is the first time you actually.
But I've never seen you all.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it's good to put a face with these voices, because y'all broke the record. You know that, don't you?
Rock for record for what?
We always
Most phone
call.
calls ever in the beginning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's where the whole skepticism was.
but that was
But
good.
yeah.
But I knew when y'all went to that meeting, what was going to happen though.
Yeah.
But y'all have California has the thickest application. It is a challenge for people, and y'all have one of the most expensive. See, we got people in the program that's crying about a $500 application to the board, and I had to tell them, y'all tell them what California's application is. The fee,
$5,000
$5,000
per program.
non-refundable.
Non-refundable. You apply, you send it, they don't accept you, gone. $500, man. Where's that?
Yeah, it's just yeah.
So that's per program for sure. So
yeah,
you
right.
want
5,000, y'all.
mm-hmm.
So y'all believe in yourself. So it's gonna be really great, and y'all gonna help a lot of people. A lot of people are looking at you all. So I'm glad that y'all came on here, because I've been wanting y'all to come on, but I knew once y'all got open and doing good, that it would be really good. Anything that you all want to, now y'all cut straight hair, right?
Say that one more time.
Straight hair, because y'all's hair is kind of straight. Yeah,
Everything.
Curly.
See, I don't know how to cut straight hair. I never learned how to cut straight hair, and a mediocre barber.
Come to our school.
That California is a big melting pot, so we get
Mhm.
everything, So we're exposed to a lot of different type of hair textures.
How do y'all want to leave the group? Well, what do y'all want? Y'all got anything y'all want to say to leave? Because I'm putting this on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. What would you want to say?
As I want to, refer to what Ivan said. We don't want to discourage anybody. It's not our intentions. We're just being as transparent as possible. We're not sugarcoating anything. If you're gonna do it for the right reasons, because it's gonna be a challenge, as we mentioned. But as long as you have the right intentions behind it and the passion behind this industry, we're here to overcome whatever challenge it's yet to come. So don't get discouraged. Don't take no for an answer. All right, and keep moving forward. That's all I can say. Just keep pushing. It will come. Trust me. This dream I thought had died, years ago when I left Barber College. But no, it was always there. With the right conversations, with the right relationships, with the right people, including you, Chen. Anything's possible.
Yeah, and for me, I just I encourage you guys to take on the challenge if you feel like, that's the next step, whether if it's a school, whether if it's a barbershop. If things are hard now, if you just sit back and just let time do its thing, it's going to get harder. So you definitely want to take charge and definitely count the cost and take the action that needs to be met so you could go ahead and meet your goals. Because there's no better feeling than feeling fulfilled, right? That you're meeting your goals and you're doing things that are for your descendants or whatever it is, right? Your generation that's to come. But yeah, if you guys are in the area, you guys have questions, come visit us. We're at 200 Atlantic Avenue, Bellows Barber Beauty College,
Pittsburgh, California.
Pittsburgh, California. Sorry. Working with Chen has been amazing. Like I said, he's always there when we need to call him or text him or email. If you guys could reach us, if you guys also want to link up with us, we're on Instagram, Bellows BBC. If you guys have anything that maybe you guys are planning on working with Chen, and maybe you guys have some questions that you want to ask us personally, go ahead and send us an email, bellowsbbc@gmail.com. We'll be happy to answer anything. Again, we're here for the industry, and we're here to help out anybody who needs help, that we can help, right?
Yeah, we're in this together. Well, anyone who wants to join the industry, we're all in this together. All right. We know how it is from the garage days to where we are now. We know the growing pains all along the way. We sat behind that enrollment chair at one point. And now we're on the opposite side of that chair, which is like crazy, right?
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool to be behind that desk enrolling somebody and thinking like, wow, not too long ago I was in the opposite side, with that nervousness of what I'm gonna do. It's a great, we can relate. So if you're in that position, feel free to contact us.
Have you thought about when you get accredited, what you gonna buy? Like Kamasi, he's out of Chicago, Networks Barber College. He was a barber working in this shop. He got his school, and he had told me that he was gonna retire his wife. He said, man, I want to take my family to Africa for a whole month. He told me this years ago. And he was talking about buying his car and stuff. Well, he retired his wife some years back when he got accredited. He was on Instagram. He had called me and he put his pictures up. He went to Africa for a month. He bought that car off the showroom floor, 140,000 cash, he said. Is it anything that y'all gonna buy? I mean, I said I was gonna retire my mama and buy her a mansion, and of course I did, but do y'all have that in the back of y'all's head too? Anything?
Man, I would love to retire my wife, but even if there's nothing that's gonna retire her, she loves what she does. She also does hair, but she loves what she does. But as far as like what would I like? What's a dream thing that I would like to have? I don't know. I don't know if I've gotten to that thought process too much, but I don't know. Is there anything?
Two things,
There it is.
Two things. One materialistic and one, I guess you could say materialistic in some ways. I want to retire my mom, just because she's been going through a lot lately, personal life. But to see the sacrifice she had to make, like I mentioned in my story, coming to this country, struggling and learning the language, and I feel like I have a duty to take care of her, So that's one thing. And then number two, dream home, And I'm not talking about the mansion with, the pool and everything. When I say dream home, I mean a home, not a house, a dream home. That's it. I'll be a happy man.
Miss Velma, my mentor, she made me do a vision board. Mm-hmm. And when I first opened my school, of the house I wanted, the life that I wanted to retire my mom, buy this house. And she had me to put it up in my room. And she said, Chin, I want you to always look at that board, even when things get tough or whatever. And I had a picture of my mama, because my mama worked from sun up to sundown, raised 3 children, single parent pretty much. Went to work so early in the morning, it was dark outside. Came home, it was so late, it was dark outside. Big block of government cheese, powdered egg, powdered milk. So I'd always look at that vision board at her, because running this school is a marathon. It's not a sprint. But yeah, once you get accredited, it's like a kid going to college for 3 years, that's a superstar. When he gets ready to go pro, he already knows when he goes pro, things are going to change. And you deserve to reward yourself. And your customers, what about when you're gonna have to fire your customers, or the majority of them?
That's already kind of happened. It's sad, it sucks. I try to take at least a few clients a day, like 2 or 3, but to eventually just retire completely behind the chair, man, I don't know. That's gonna be tough.
We love it, and we love what we do so much that just the thought of like completely stop cutting hair and saying I'm out, guys, it hurts. But it's a bittersweet, right? it's a bittersweet because without these clients, you know, and just like Ivan, I only cut a few, and these are the few that were with me since the beginning. To cut them up completely, I don't think I can do it. You know, maybe when I have that dream home I talked about, come over and I'll cut your hair, you know, here and there. But I don't think I can necessarily.
There was 2 of them that I kept. One, he's dead. I still got 1 customer left from 25, 26 years.
How often do you cut them?
Once a month. When I got my accreditation, I fired all my customers except those 2 men. There was 2 religious men. They had a lot of wisdom. They were real close to God, married. They were wealthy, rich, and they were like father figures. And I kept them because I needed them. I needed them. And so I would have paid them to cut their hair. And so I kept them. Then one's dead. Then Mr. Lewis, I still cut his hair once a month. But yeah, I did. But some customers got mad too. I don't know if y'all have encountered that or whatever, because sometimes clients think they own you or whatever.
It's happening. I'm sure Ivan can relate, and I'm sure you can relate, Chen, that once you start the process, is your clientele from years starts to get smaller and smaller. You see, next thing you know, what Instagram these days, I see them get cut by another barber. And next thing you know, you kind of just get surrounded by just the same clients that've been with you from the beginning. It just gets smaller and smaller, as was mentioned.
Yeah, and I'm not getting too much kickback as like they're getting mad. I think a lot of them, because I've talked about, when I have a lot of them that I have from before I even had my barbershop. So I always talked about it, like, oh, one day I want to open up a shop, right? 3 years down after working at that shop, boom, open up my own shop. And then after opening up my shop, a lot of that question was like, well, you want to open up more? It was more so like, I don't know if I want to do it again, but I would want to open up a school, right? So I think they understand, because of our conversations and that connection that we had, that it's like, eventually it was going to come. And when I text people back, I'm like, yo, my bad, I'm sorry, I haven't been able to get back to you. They understand. They're like, I know, man, you're busy. We both actually had 2 new kids, and we opened this up within the same time frame. So they're like, dude, I know you got a lot of stuff going on. So a lot of them are understanding, but a lot of them just go to some of the guys at the barbershop. And to me, I'm like, man, that's already a blessing that they're continuing to support the other business that I have, right?
I think the people that understand the journey and seeing you go from where you started to now are the ones that are still around, you say.
But officially open, like our students that signed up within the first month, they've been here for 4 months. The first month that we opened, we enrolled about 4 students. No, 3.
3
in the first month.
Then another 2. So it's it's a roller coaster, but it's good.
That's good. I had 0 for a while, so that's good. Somebody said, what's your tuition?
Our tuition for barber is 10 grand, and tuition for cosmetology is 13 grand. After all costs and kit and all the other fees, you're looking at 16 grand for Cosmo and
13,000 for
about
barber.
13 for barber.
Okay. Let's see.
And for our area, that's cheap.
Yeah,
Very cheap.
yeah, very cheap.
California, yeah, that's
very cheap in California.
2009 when I went, tuition with total, I mean, I can't even remember if I got a kit, but everything out the door was 7 grand. So 2022, you're kind of a few grand away from that. That's
not bad.
That's not bad. So for other states, I'm sure they're like, dang, that's a lot of money. But California, you're cheap. We're cheap.
Once you get a credit, you'll be $25,000, $30,000.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's a goal for sure.
Let me see. If you had to do something different, what would you do? Like do this school thing.
Something different. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's tough because there's not really too much things that you could do different. Like what, and ideally would be good that the state didn't require you to have a lease already in contract before submitting your application, because that's huge. That could be like a deal breaker. That could already put you out of business before you even get started. You get a lease and you don't know how long they're gonna take, because when we went, mind you, this is prior to COVID, so applications are getting approved in quotations 3 to 6 months. We didn't get approved till a year and a half, almost.
So as you could say, in some ways, quarantine kind of benefited us a little bit, but
in a sense of leasing and rent.
yeah, releasing and rent only.
As far as timing, it kind of went against
really
us.
pushed us, but we did something different as far as the question goes. If we can do something different, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say.
I think it's hard to try to do things different when state wants it a specific way. So
I think y'all did everything right, because y'all did it. Y'all went through that application, submitted it. Y'all did really well.
Yeah.
Somebody said, would you open another school?
absolutely,
Yes, you know,
with due time.
through time,
With
and,
due
and you
time.
know, and you know, the big vision. Yes, absolutely.
They said, did you have to pay on the lease while you were getting it prepared for the school?
Here in the state of California, I don't know other states, but speaking from out here, majority of the landlords give you a grace period. Sometimes it can be negotiable in some cases. But like they say and goes, in real estate, everything's negotiable. For us, I believe they gave us 3 to 6 months.
Honestly, they like, just without being super specific, it was about a year that they just give us for free.
Yeah.
And then
While it was said and done, yes.
yeah, when it's all said and done, it was like a free year, and then we still weren't approved. It took about another 3 to 4 months that we actually had to pay before getting approved. But again, like you mentioned, it was negotiable, and we were able to work it out.
And it comes down to, as I mentioned earlier, it's just really got to really open your mouth, and you're in a position where it's tough with finances. Negotiate as much as you can. Don't take that no. Get creative with it, especially when it comes to leases.
Zandra said, how big is your school?
I think we're meeting the minimum square footage, which is 3,200 square feet.
The minimum is 3,000.
3,000.
Yeah, but we're at 3,200 square feet, which our max capacity is close to 50 students. Hopefully we can get there sooner, but 3,200 square feet and that's everything from classroom to office and the floor room across.
I wonder if I could get a little tour.
Yeah, that'd be great. How are your students paying tuition? And how they're paying tuition? You already answered how much it was.
So we did some research and see what we can do when it comes to tuition. Obviously, we're not accredited yet. So the best thing that's been working for us is, one, we obviously place our tuition on the lower side of things because we're new, we're not accredited. We did some research on what financing was with FAFSA for those schools who are accredited, and the average person who was paying a tuition of $20,000 to $25,000, and it's just average, every situation is different, was walking away with some type of balance, which was roughly around $10,000. So that's why we priced our tuition at. And as far as how they pay it, we do require a 25% down payment of the total amount with fees, enrollment fees, everything included. So they put that 25% down minimum, and the rest we just go ahead and break it down into payments. So we call it in-house financing. Bring in 25% down, just like purchasing a vehicle, and then we'll give you a certain amount of time to pay that off during the time you're here in school.
Whether if it's full-time or part-time,
that
will be based off.
Yeah, so if you're doing obviously part-time, you'll be here longer, you have more months to pay it off. If you want to get it done more quicker, your payments will be a little higher, but your months will be a lot less.
China said, How many students do you enroll monthly, and where do you find your students?
Monthly, I mean, we're capped at for per, I guess you could call it schedule to do 25. But as we're enrolling more, we're opening up more schedules, nighttime, full-time, part-time. But as far as like limit, I think that's our cap again for one program. And how do we find our students? We start off with just Instagram and a lot of word of mouth.
The sphere of influence has been big, especially in a community where the community is big. If you're in a place where it's all about community, be part of it. And then if you're a shop owner or salon owner already, that's going to help you get there a little more faster because you're already in the industry, your community knows you. And if you're big on Instagram, use that as your advantage to get the word out there. So Instagram, social media in general has been big. And then I don't know if you meant how many students do we enroll a month? It's hard to say. We have been open for 4 months. So we're averaging, within those 4 months, we enroll already about 8 students. So you can say maybe 2 students a month if you want to average it so far.
Yeah.
How often do you enroll? Every week, every month, once a month, once a week? How you do enrollment?
We do enrollments every 2 weeks. We stay with the chapter for 2 weeks, and for the new chapter, we'll have the new students coming in and join that new chapter.
So we go off of my ladies' curriculum for those who are wondering, and then we spend 2 weeks, as Ivan mentioned, on that particular subject, that chapter. When the class moves to the next chapter, then that's when the new students come in. So they'll start whatever the chapter are on, and they just eventually revolve back to that chapter they missed.
Somebody asked, what courses do you offer? You got Barber?
We have 2. So the state of California, again, we're speaking from our experience with the state of California. We were allowed to open up, we can open up 2 programs with that initial first $5,000 application. So we took advantage of it. We're like, 5,000, might as well get the 2 programs going as fast as we can. So we chose the most popular ones, which cosmetology and barber. Now, if we want to go ahead and expand to other programs, then that's where an additional 5,000 per program eventually comes around.
So how many hours is it in California?
Now this year, it's 1,000 for both programs, barbering and cosmetology. But schools cannot offer that until you get approved by the board. So you have to send another application. There's no fee for it, but you have to send another application with your new curriculum and syllabus, meeting those 1,000 hours.
Let's see.
1,000 hours, man.
That's low. That's low. It was 1,500 and 1,600 hours for those who are wondering.
Yeah, previously.
Let's see. I'm trying to get all the questions. All right, they're congratulating y'all. All right. Well, I guess, do y'all have any more questions? This is y'all's time to pick Eddie and Ivan's brain. Y'all, they asked a lot of questions tonight. What's y'all's theme song? We're gonna have a DJ to end on y'all's theme song. Hold on, let me see. I think we got another question. Oh, how long is the wait to be an accredited? It's usually right at 3 years for that. Yeah.
To get accredited?
I'll tell you what, how about we do this, Chen? I'll answer one more question, Ivan answer one more, and then we'll call it a night.
All right, so they're gonna do one more. How did you find your space? China wants to know that.
As far as our location?
Yeah, the building.
That was another challenge too. A fun one though. Just if I missed this, I did get my real estate license during the time that I was a barber. Just kind of playing with it and see where I can get with it. So I knew that in my head I wanted to find a busy location, just because Ivan and I come from that background, like location, but it makes a lot of things a lot easier. Um, but there was a lot of challenges. We were looking at other areas as far as cities. Uh, we're looking at leases, and we were trying to figure out the requirements when it comes to state board. They wanted at least a minimum of a certain amount. For us, we had two programs, so we had to get at least a 3,000 square foot. Then we had to look into the factor, okay, how much, because over here they go by square footage as far as how much they charge, how much can we afford. So it was really tedious in finding that niche. Okay, this one's good, but it doesn't meet the requirements. This one has the location, but that's too much. You know, this one's perfect, but the zoning doesn't require us to have a school here. So you really got to do a lot of homework too, and look at look at your zonings in your cities. You know, don't just think that's it, that's where it's going to be. Do your homework, go to your city. They'll give you a map over here. They give us a map. This is where we can do educational, businesses. So then we kind of shortened up our list. So we finally came about this location. We're in a plaza, which is pretty busy. And I think it just was meant to be. There was nothing available at the time. But, I never take no for an answer. I called the leasing manager because the name was on a banner. He wouldn't answer. He was a hard guy to get to. I just kept calling and calling and calling. Finally, he's like, yo, I don't have anything available, but I think this tenant might be leaving soon. And I told him, look, we're looking for this amount of square footage. So he's like, huh. So he's like, I'll get back to you. So it just happened that 2 tenants were going to leave. I think he was going to relocate one. So we took 2 18 square foot locations, units. They knocked the middle wall down.
We'll give them a quick little tour.
Yeah, they combined it, and we'll show you a tour in just a little bit here. We combined it, both 1,800 square feet, and made it into 3,200 square feet location, which it just worked out. And then in a location that's busy, the square footage was perfect. It's just research and don't take notes. Just if that's what you want and it's not available, try to figure out what you can do. All right. So like I said, don't take no for an answer.
Somebody said, are they using a program for their grading system?
Say that one time.
Are they using a program for their grading system? Probably. Do y'all use any software yet? Any Fame?
Oh, yeah.
Genesis?
Fame. Chen, you helped us a lot with that Fame.
So how did that work out?
Oh, they're doing good.
Yeah, just like anything else, at first it's like a new world of technology, but it's pretty easy and it does everything for us.
Good.
And we get your tracking device, so it helps out with punching in and punching out, and again, it's all integrated, so it makes it super easy to keep track of the punch ins and punch outs. And then again, their system makes it easier for the grading, and our curriculum got integrated into their system. So yeah.
How important do you think that is to have that automated system versus doing everything by hand?
You're not spending time that's could be spent on other things that are more important than just sitting down writing these numbers and keeping track of people's hours. And then besides the fact that you could lose that, it's all just, the more things that you could do remotely, the better. You can focus on actual things that matter: promoting, getting more students, enrolling people, classes, things like that.
It makes your life easier.
Who cut y'all's hair? Because y'all's hair look real good.
Actually, I had one of the students coming today.
I have my barber shop. I've been blessed with 9 good barbers in my shop. So, but the students are here and they're getting really well. I mean, Ivan's haircut came out good today, and this is from a student. So you
gotta have faith in your students. Yeah. I have faith in my students. I mean, at the end of the day, we're the ones teaching them. So
it encourages too. It encourages your students to he trusted me with his hair. The guy that's teaching me is trusting me. So it makes them feel a lot more, like connected.
If you want, before we leave, we'll just give you like a quick little tour of again the facility, and then we'll just if you want to end it there.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Outside.
Yeah, we'll do that. And then if you guys, I have you on the phone, so if you guys want to ask any questions,
Yeah.
well,
We'll make it. Let me see.
please.
Big. We'll make it.
All right, please excuse the.
Hold on. I don't see it. Hold on 1 second. View.
Oh wait.
Where's the? Hold on. Let me.
I think he has to approve it.
Yeah, put the camera on. You can turn the camera on.
Turn your camera. It's off.
Yeah, turn the camera on.
Video because the host has disabled it, so he has to enable it.
You gotta enable it, Chin.
All
It
right,
says
there it is. What about now?
Right.
Okay, so
There it is. All right. Sorry about all that. If you want to mute that. All right. So we have the office where we're doing the enrollments. If you want to just come over here, and I'll just record. You want to show them? Go ahead.
All right, guys. So we're gonna start here in the back end of the school. So we have what we call a spa room. This is where we have our cosmetology and our barbers obviously practice facials, extractions, waxing, stuff like that. This is one of the rooms that we have for them. Let me show you where the classroom will be.
Show them where they plug in.
As far as Fame, they do have a, like say, integration of tracking their hours. So they just scan their phone, they get that information, a QR code, and they type in a code and it clocks them in and out. As I mentioned, we have a classroom as well. This classroom is about 500 square feet or so, and we use it for our cosmetology program. So they spend the first 12 weeks in here, which we call phase 1. They do a lot of theory work because they go into a lot of chemical work, a lot of things as colors. They have a lot more things to learn as far as pedicures, makeup, etc. So they'll spend 12 weeks here. As far as barbers, I'll show you where they are.
I think somebody asked if it's an iPad. I mean, just a regular tablet.
Yeah, it's just a regular tablet. You can use an iPad as well. This is our main floor. We have 2 sides. I'm standing on the barber side, guys. We have theory here because the classroom is being used by the cosmetologists, but they'll spend their first 5 weeks, which we call phase 1, learning all the basics from holding the clippers the proper way, learning different tools, sanitation, disinfecting, all that good stuff. So this is the barber side. We have 12 chairs on this side. We use this digital TV here to do theory in the morning. We just go ahead and attach what we call our SEMA system, which is provided by my ladies. And then I'll take you around, and we have our front desk, of course. These cubbies here will eventually become our retail area. We're new, so we're getting that situated, doing more research of what's going to be our best wholesale. But that's another source of revenue, which is great, other than your haircuts and your tuition from the students. And then on this side, we have our cosmetology side, what we call it. This, once they graduate their 12 weeks of phase 1, they'll go here, where they start actually working on real clients. And as much a lot of you guys know, our service is a lot cheaper because their students being taught and learning on actual real people. But they spend about half their day out here actually really doing, hands-on stuff.
We'll show them the front and then.
Yep, and then I'll show you guys the front. I'll show you a little bit of the plaza, where we at, the traffic that we get. As I mentioned, location is a big thing in real estate.
The haircuts are $7. Here's a little bit of quick little list if you guys want to just look at that. Only 2 shampoo bowls. No, we have 3 behind the TV, and then we have 2 right here, so 5 in total.
This is the front. Like I said, we're in a plaza, which is great. We're next to a laundromat, which we get a lot of traffic from there. We got a lot of restaurants such as Little Caesars. We have Chinese food areas.
A lot of parking.
A lot of parking. We have a busy street in front of us. And then this is our initial front of the school. As I mentioned, we have 2 locations. That's why there's 2 signs. One was 1,800 square feet, and this side was 1,800 square feet. Where they combined them together to make one big school, as you guys can see.
Here's the front right here. We got our logo, and then some of the services right up top, and then some marketing for people that walk in. They can scan our website, have a little preview of what we do, and then I'll walk back inside because I don't know if you guys could hear very well. But.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, cool. And then I'll flip it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Man.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
We're again 4 months. We're getting started.
Hope you guys like the school, what we showed you, what we have so far.
It's excellent. Y'all doing a great job. And y'all have inspired us. You done inspired me. Y'all always put a big smile on my face when I see y'all open these schools. So